Before I start this video, I want to make it very clear that this video is not an attack on Genshin Impact players. I will be making another video talking about two things that Genshin Impact actually does better than Wuthering Waves. But this is a video topic that I thought I could turn into a series covering different games and talking about different things that they are doing better than the other, and also things that they're doing worse than other games. It's technically the same thing, but you get the idea of the video. So with all that said, let's get into the video. Hey, what is up guys, it's Mordant. So, in 2025, I want to believe that no one gets annoyed when anyone says that Wuthering Waves takes a lot of inspiration from Genshin Impact. If you do in fact still get annoyed by this, I really don't know why you get annoyed by it. If you could please tell me down in the comments, I would greatly appreciate. But Wuthering Waves, in my very honest opinion, took a lot of inspiration from Genshin Impact. But what they did do is that they took one aspect of the game, the combat, and made it the core focus of the game. But here's one thing that Kuro Games did that I absolutely love. They didn't focus on only the combat and leave other areas of the game to rot in hell. They started to also improve other areas of the game. And the best part, they listened to the feedback that the community gave them and they used that to make the game a whole lot better. And I greatly appreciate it. So in this video, let's talk about two things that I believe that Genshin Impact does not do as well as Wuthering Waves. You can also think about it in reverse. Two things that Wuthering Waves does better than Genshin Impact. To be honest, were you even surprised that this was on the list? Like, it's a given that I'm going to talk about the combat in Wuthering Waves. Now, technically, you can't really say that it's fair to compare Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves combat because these two games have two different ideologies that form the base idea of their games. The core mechanics of Wuthering Waves combat focuses on skill expression, and the core idea of Genshin's combat is a casual, fun experience. And these ideas are what form the basis of the enemies that you also have in the game. You really cannot take the enemies that are in Wuthering Waves and put them in Genshin Impact, nor can you put a Genshin enemy in Wuthering Waves because the two games will clash. And because of that, I technically think that it's not right to compare the two combat systems. But at the same time, these two games are both open world gacha games, and the combat is a very integral part of the systems. Of course, there are other aspects like the story and other things, but the combat is one of the core aspects of the story, and Wuthering Waves did a fantastic job here because a lot of people who played Genshin Impact wanted more out of the system. Now, I personally feel that some people who were complaining about Genshin's system didn't understand what exactly Genshin was offering, and if they actually understood it, they would be fine with it. Some people wanted something else from an entirely different game, and if you look at it objectively, you will see that Genshin Impact combat system is good. It has its limitations, but Wuthering Waves essentially went out, took the things that all of those people were complaining about and melded it into one cohesive experience. You can now parry your enemies, you can now dodge your enemies' attacks, you get punished for doing the wrong thing, and defeating an enemy, especially if you do things like a no-hit run or anything like that, it's very satisfying. Genshin Impact doesn't allow for this because of the elemental system that you have in the game. The elemental system doesn't really give you much room for skill expression. You either do the elemental reactions or you're dead. You can't rely on physical damage. Well, technically you can rely on physical damage, but physical damage is not really a core aspect of the game, and you clearly see it in every single enemy design. Now, if I say that it's not fair to compare Wuthering Waves and Genshin combat, then why exactly is it in this video? The reason why is simple. The way that the two games use their combat. Genshin Impact, when it launched, basically put the combat to the side and mainly focus on storytelling, and a ton of people were complaining for the longest time, give us something else related to combat but they simply would not listen. They would only keep doing the bare minimum. And then the report came out about them not planning on doing anything like that, and that essentially was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Everyone was pissed off. But it's not like they cannot do it, and we've already seen that they can do it. The Imaginarium Theatre has come out, and even though the Imaginarium Theatre is just like the Spiral Abyss, but just a little bit more complicated, it's still another endgame mode that a lot of people back then would probably have been happy with. If Genshin Impact had taken its time to say, okay, even though these people are a small minority, they are still players of our game. These people who enjoy combat will want to pull for new characters. If we satisfy them, why don't we just, even if it's just a little thing to keep them satiated for now? This is a thing that Genshin Impact could have done, but they chose not to do it until Wuthering Waves came about, and that's really sad to see that they really did not care about giving the fans what they wanted. They were only focused on one thing. And yes, I do understand that it's not wrong to focus on what it is that you wanted, but from time to time you should also try to be flexible. Try to see if this thing will benefit you, and if it will benefit you, then give a little bit of room for it. You don't have to change the entire game to be a combat centered game. You can still appease the people who are interested in combat while still leaning fully into the casual experience that you want. And Wuthering Waves shows us that example. Wuthering Waves has all of the different combat things that you have. You have the tactical echoes, you have the Tower of Adversity, you have the red enemies in the open world, but all of these things are optional. Like, you can be a Wuthering Waves player and you will never go near the Tower of Adversity, nor will you ever go near the red enemies, nor will you ever go to a tactical hologram willingly, because Wuthering Waves understands that even though the combat is made for people who want to express skill, there will be people who may not be interested in these things, and they gave them the room and the flexibility to be able to do what they want. And on top of that, even if these people said, okay, I want to actually try these things out, but I don't want to waste my time dodging and parrying and learning timings and doing all of this, then they can just go out, make a Jinsei nuke build, and just nuke the enemy to death. It's really that simple. Like, there's a lot of flexibility in Wuthering Waves combat, and I really love the way that Kuro Games handled the combat in Wuthering Waves. It shows that Genshin Impact could have done better, but they chose not to do better until it was basically too late. This one is directly tied to the previous point, so I don't even want to waste a lot of time on it. One of the most prevalent examples of this is in the skip button. Now, there are rumors that Genshin is planning on introducing a skip button to Genshin Impact after nearly 6 years of people asking for a skip button. And there are a ton of other things that people have been asking for in Genshin Impact that MiHoYo has simply decided never to give us. And this silence that MiHoYo had towards the feedback that we gave is one of the things that made Wuthering Waves so beloved by the people who play it nowadays, because Wuthering Waves and Kuro listened. They listened. When people complained about the story in CBT 1, they went and did a massive overhaul of the system. Like, I don't want to waste my time talking about this. This is a very straightforward point. It's a waste of time for me to go into details about this. As a Genshin Impact player, if you're going to be very honest with yourself, you know that Genshin Impact has not been doing well when it comes to listening to the feedback that we give. Yes, we know that from time to time they listen, but this is after like a millennia has passed that they finally say, oh wait, we can finally do this, and then they do it, and then everyone's like, yay, Genshin did it. No, that is terrible behavior. I don't know why MiHoYo does this. MiHoYo has a good game. Genshin Impact is a good game. I don't know why they just decided to do things like this. It really hurts me to my core. And Wuthering Waves once again shows that they can do better in this front. And I really hope that MiHoYo at least starts to try to open up. We've already heard the rumors about the skip button. Hopefully soon we'll hear something about artifact loadouts and something else. And hopefully from there, Genshin Impact will become a better game that everyone can enjoy. But that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave your thoughts down below. Do you think there are other things that I missed that are more important than the ones I talked about? Please let me know down in the comments below. Like I've already mentioned, I'll be making another video specifically for Genshin Impact against Wuthering Waves, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out that video. You can also join the hideout on Discord to suggest different videos that I can do, or you can just suggest them down in the comments. With all of that said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.